Recently, Joe Rogan talked about how he heard a rumor that Jon Jones wanted $30 million to fight Tom Aspinall and the UFC. We're going to pay it. But Rogan was apparently fact-checked on that. Now Joe says, we were talking about Jon Jones and I heard a rumor that Jon Jones wanted $30 million to fight Tom Aspinall. And I did hear that rumor and I did hear the UFC said yes, but it's not true. Dana White contacted me and said that rumor is BS. And after that conversation with Dana White, Joe makes it sound like Jon Jones wants to retire. Joe Rogan says, well, apparently Jon is thinking about retiring, and he should. I mean, he's going to have to someday. If he decides to one day come back and he wants to fight Tom Aspinall for the heavyweight title, the question is how long are you allowed to hold on to that title before they start having that conversation. They should probably have that conversation soon because there's been an interim champion now for 1 year and 2 months.
Do you believe that we still can get real news information, Joe?
Not from me.
UFC ended its broadcast deal with Band in Brazil, marking the first time in over 20 years it lacks a TV partner in the country. According to a report by Guilherme Cruz of MMA Fighting, UFC will now stream events exclusively on UFC Fight Pass. The YouTube channel GOAT previously was airing some fights. It also lost its contract. Talks with Globo about a new deal are ongoing but remain inconclusive. The move suggests the UFC may be exploring global streaming partnerships, possibly with platforms like Netflix. So the UFC is not just looking at domestic but also global rights deals. The termination of these contracts in Brazil and moving exclusively to Fight Pass in Brazil suggests a strategic shift towards centralized streaming rights. Aside from Netflix, you also got Amazon and Apple. They've been mentioned as potential suitors, but since Netflix entered that sports broadcasting deal with the WWE, it could make things easier to get UFC rights as WWE and UFC are under the same parent company. And then there's Amazon. They've shown willingness to invest in sports with the NFL deal. And Apple has also secured streaming rights for Major League Soccer, indicating growing interest in sports content. Kamaru Usman growing tired. A welterweight's calling him out. He says, shut your mouth. No one is scared of any of you. When I'm healthy, I will get in there. So shut your mouth, you stupid welterweights, and wait when I'm healthy. So he sounds like he's getting pissed off. But it's nothing personal. They just want your spot. They want that number 3 position. But Usman, who knows when he's going to be healthy? He has shot knees. He sacrificed a lot to become a great welterweight champion. So he's injured, getting older, and who knows when he's going to come back. So Buckley versus Usman's off the table. Buckley's not a guy who's going to be waiting on the sidelines for Usman. He's a guy who wants to stay active. So the way it's going to play out in the welterweight division at the top, Bilal Muhammad's going to take on Shavkat Rakhmonov. Maybe in May, Leon Edwards probably going to be taking on Jack Della Maddalena. March 22nd in London. So that leaves Sean Brady to take on Joaquin Buckley through process of elimination. Or maybe Buckley takes on Ian Machado Gary, who's right behind him in the rankings. A fight that was supposed to happen December 14th, but it did not end up becoming Colby versus Buckley and Ian Gary versus Shavkat Rakhmonov. Or Brady takes on Ian Machado Gary. So that's pretty much all that's left. At One Fight Night 27, 6 fighters missed hydration tests, including Aaron Canart, Abdullah Jerome, John Lineker, a former UFC fighter, and his opponent Kulabdam. They failed hydration tests. As a result, some bouts are going to be shifted to catchweights or canceled, impacting the lineup of One Fight Night 27 at the Lumpini Stadium in Bangkok, Thailand. On the topic of weight cutting and health scares and hydration, Diane Silva, who's a Bellator PFL fighter, had a severe health scare from a weight cut that led to kidney failure and being in a medically induced coma, but now she's doing better. Back in Brazil for rehab, able to walk and talk again, but initial fears of a lifelong dialysis is no longer a concern. Her manager, Alex Davis, praised Bellator for their support during her victory or recovery. On the topic of weight cutting, hydration, and things like that, Diane Silva, Bellator PFL fighter who had a severe health scare not too long ago from a weight cut that led to kidney failure and a medically induced coma, is now doing better, thankfully. Back in Brazil for rehab, able to walk and talk again, so initial fears of a lifelong dialysis are no longer a concern. Her manager, Alex Davis, has praised Bellator for their support during her recovery. Following this incident, Davis has been pushing for serious change on how weight cutting is managed in MMA. He emphasized the dangers of extreme weight cutting practices, hoping this near-death experience would serve as a catalyst for reform in the sport to prevent similar incidents in the future. This case has sparked discussions on safety and ethics in weight cutting and pro MMA, with Silva's experience serving as a stark reminder of the potential health risks involved. As far as anything changing, I doubt it. It's just a dangerous game from top to bottom. I'm surprised more people haven't died, and I'm glad that they haven't, but a little surprised that more people haven't died. Jan Blachowicz thinks that injuries hindered his performances against Alex Pereira and Magomed Ankalaev in the past, but he feels good now, leading up to his fight March 22nd against Carlos Ulberg.
We just finished our sparring session. I feel good, very good. My shoulders are working pretty good, so let's go. I'm gonna be ready. Legendary Polish power.
Cody Steele versus Rong Zhu, UFC 312, February 8th. About a month away. DDP versus Strickland headlines the show for the middleweight title in Sydney, Australia. The new money fight in 2025 is a boxing exhibition match in India. KSI rumored to be stepping in on fighting Conor McGregor, with Logan Paul focusing on WWE. Now Tommy Fury wants to get in on the action. The notorious MMA Conor McGregor, don't waste your time with beaten fighters. Fight the man who's beaten them all and still has his own. I'll be waiting for the call. They're hearing $250 million payday, so a lot of people want to get in on that action. Clarissa Shields taking on Danielle Perkins, February 22nd. People making fun of the acting in that clip. To be acting, it's so bad, it's sort of good because it's bad, it's funny, it's good. But yeah, they're fighting February 2nd in Flint, Michigan. If there's a tournament like the Enter the Dragon for $25 million in BKFC, I'm in, is what Mike Perry says. He's probably not in the tournament because he's probably fighting Lawler in March or April. Merab Dvalishvili is going to ask Ilya Topuria if he wants to corner him next weekend against Umar Nurmagomedov. It's not necessarily a bad idea or a good idea. I don't know. They don't really fight the same at all, but whatever Merab's been doing so far with his coaches seems fine. Cecile Bolander just won an Octagon MMA title, but has been in pain since. She thought it was a sinus infection, but it wasn't. Turns out it wasn't a sinus infection, being back and forth every day from the hospital since Monday. She has to figure out what's going on. Alex Pereira with the Fighting Nerds, Caio Bahayo, both these guys need fights. They'll probably be announced sometime soon. Pereira coming off a win over Roundtree. Bahayo coming off a win over Cannonier. Vinicius Oliveira training for his fight with Said Nurmagomedov February 1st in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Oliveira is an entertaining, creative striker. Elbow. Alex Volkanovski weighed 214 pounds while playing rugby, not 240. These MMA pages are getting bored repeating the same shit every other video. These MMA pages are getting so bored repeating the same shit every other video. All the money in the world didn't buy Conor respect or integrity.